You keep trying to learn more and more productivity hacks to find the perfect one that works for you, but it doesn't work. It doesn't stop your procrastination. In this video, I'm going to explain exactly why that is, the solution, and explain a bit of the neuroscience behind it. The first thing to understand about these productivity hacks, they actually only work to boost people that already have good productivity systems. If you're someone that's not yet particularly productive, it's like supplementing a bad diet. It doesn't matter how many supplements you take, it won't really fix your bad diet. You'll still feel kind of sluggish and slow. So if you fix the diet first, then the productivity hacks will help. So if the productivity hacks don't work for you, it's because you do not have the systems in place of good productivity, and you most likely do not have good emotional regulation. This one is extremely important. So you have to understand what procrastination is. When you want to do something, or you say, I'm going to go do such and such a thing, and then you don't do it. Like, what exactly is that? That's pretty weird, right? How could you say you're going to do something and not do it? Unless you have conflicting parts in you. Procrastination is not a time management or behavior problem. It's an emotional problem. It is an emotion regulation problem. So when you say, oh, I'm just lazy or I'm not a particularly hard worker, that's what it looks like from the outside. When you look on the inside, when you actually look at what's going on inside the mind when you're procrastinating, you'll find a pretty complex and kind of ironically busy internal world. So procrastination is avoidance of the task, and specifically to protect you from perceived danger of the task. Let's get into it. So I'm literally going to tell you exactly what to do. The first thing you need is emotional awareness. So developing this is actually really, really simple. If you're someone that isn't emotionally numb, you'll already have this, but if you're someone that is emotionally numb, all you need to do, multiple times throughout the day, just ask yourself, what am I feeling? That's it. It's really, really simple. Just ask yourself, what am I feeling? So in the beginning, you get an answer, something like, oh, I feel good, or I feel bad, or I feel stressed, or something like that. This is the limit of your emotional awareness. If you have this, you have something called alexithymia. Alexithymia is emotional numbness. So what happens is your emotional circuitry in the brain is always activated. It is always on, even when you're sleeping. 24/7 it is on. If you are unable to detect what emotions you are feeling, that's called alexithymia, which is emotional numbness. So the way to solve emotional numbness literally is just to ask yourself multiple times throughout the day, because it does take a bit of trying, what am I feeling right now? And try to get into as much detail as possible. So the answer should look something like this. I'll do it literally right in front of you. What am I feeling right now? I feel a little bit stressed because I have kind of a lot of work to do, but I'm also ironically a bit relaxed. I feel pretty good right now. I feel pretty grateful. I feel pretty joyous because I'm getting to teach people things that hopefully will help them. Yeah, I'm enjoying myself right now. The more detail that you can get into, the better. So you start with asking yourself what you're feeling. And here's an extremely important part. Do not intellectualize. Intellectualization is where you don't give yourself the space to simply just feel the emotion. So you label the emotion, oh, I'm feeling anger right now, or like, oh, I'm feeling overwhelmed right now. But you were able to like identify the emotion, but you don't necessarily let yourself feel it. It's a little bit strange but you kind of create a barrier between you and the emotion. It's like a glass pane. You can still see the emotion, but you don't actually let yourself feel it. Because once you feel the emotion, you can start to identify the thoughts and the beliefs behind them. Once you're able to do that, then you can start to challenge the beliefs. Let me explain. So usually when you have a task to do and you feel stuck or unable to begin, it's often something like perfectionism or fear of shame, fear of failure, anxiety. Oftentimes it's just overwhelm and stress. You don't think that the result or the outcome is going to be worth the effort. So these are the thoughts that come out from the emotions. Once you're aware of these thoughts, you will kind of quickly realize they don't really make much sense at all. It just makes it really, really easy to cognitively reframe. Cognitive reframing is where you challenge a belief or thought and then you reframe it into something else. Here's an example. So I have an entire assignment to do. If I were to sit down for 3 hours or even and try to do it, I feel like it won't be enough to get the whole thing done. Which means that the thought behind it is the outcome, which is not finishing the assignment, is not going to be worth 4 hours of effort. And then to cognitively reframe, you can say something like, so because I have so much to do, I'm just going to try to do none of it. Like it doesn't make sense. So you can tell yourself things like doing 30% of the task is better than doing 0% of the task. So once you're aware of your feelings, you can create some distance between you and the feelings, which means that you can challenge them, you can evaluate them, and you do not let the emotions control you. Once you can challenge them, it helps decrease the hump, which is like the amount of effort that you need to exert to start doing the task. It'll decrease it, but you still have a little bit of a hump to overcome. You'll still have to exert some amount of willpower to begin, but it'll be a lot less. Because if you do not become aware of the emotions, this is exactly what will happen inside your mind. So you see the thing or the task, it creates a negative emotion, which then leads to the thoughts I mentioned. If you do not create distance between you and the thought, and you create distance just from being aware, then the thought will end up coloring your entire present experience, which will then further reinforce the negative emotion. And that, going unchallenged, will then cause your emotion to control you, because you're not creating any distance between you and the emotion. So to simplify, you essentially just become the emotion in that moment. The emotion colors your experience in that moment, and you give into it. You'll notice that it's actually pretty simple. It almost seems kind of stupid, because when you think of productivity, you think of schedules and, doing things. And I'm telling you here, don't do things. Just think it through. And that sounds completely ridiculous, but the truth is, it is from being able to think through, or at least, process your internal problems, that you will be able to decrease the amount by which you procrastinate. And when you decrease the amount by which you procrastinate, which is done through good emotional regulation, then you have access to actually build good productivity systems. And once you can build those, then productivity hacks will actually work for you and help supplement your good diet, so to speak. So I want to explain some of the neuroscience behind how all of this works. The brain's habit system is primarily controlled by something called the basal ganglia. The basal ganglia is responsible essentially for autopiloting actions, autopiloting tasks. When you open a door, you don't think about reaching your hand out, turning the handle. Your basal ganglia primarily controls what action you're going to do, and it's mostly an unconscious process. When you procrastinate, what's really happening? You feel a negative emotion, and then you run away from it, right? You do this several times over. It is a habit. You don't consciously choose to go run away from the negative emotion and go procrastinate and do something else. There's a small part of it which is conscious, but it's mostly automatic. So the way to stop your brain from doing automatic behaviors is involving the prefrontal cortex. The prefrontal cortex is responsible for conscious awareness. It's the most advanced part of the brain, evolutionarily speaking. The prefrontal cortex, specifically subregions such as the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex and the anterior cingulate cortex, these parts of the brain have effectively top-down control over the basal ganglia. It has the ability to dim and even shut down the habit circuitry. You'll notice with all things to do with breaking bad habits, it always starts with awareness of when you're going to do the bad habit. It starts with awareness of what triggers you to do the bad habit. It's literally all neuroscience is to get your prefrontal cortex to shut down the habit circuitry so that you don't automatically go and do the bad thing. It's pretty interesting stuff actually, but I'm not going to go too far into it because no one really cares. So to sum up, being aware of your mind, being aware of your emotions and letting yourself feel the emotions, and then being aware of the thoughts that those emotions inspire, then challenging those thoughts will help you break these bad mental habits that cause you to automatically procrastinate. Once you break these bad habits, then you have the ability to be more productive more easily, and then you can start building systems to be more productive. Once you have built systems to be more productive, which is done through mostly just experimentation and a bit of hard work, unsurprisingly, then productivity hacks will begin to work for you, because productivity hacks literally are made to supplement people that already have good productivity systems and good emotional control. I hope you found this lecture valuable. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe. I'll see you on the flip side.